Hi all, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about how you can fix and maybe even catch before it happens death wobble. I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube, some of them good, some of them bad, and so I wanted to make my own talking about my experience with American vehicles and how terrible their front end components are and what you can do to catch the whole death wobble scenario even before it happens to you on the road. Okay, so probably one of the best things and most helpful things that you can do to check for death wobble is get a friend and get him to sit in the cab of your vehicle or in the driver's seat with both hands on the wheel. And what you want to do is get them to work the wheel. So you want to turn it to the left and the right. They don't need to go crazy far back and forth, but you want to get the front end steering components to move. And by doing that, you, while they're doing that, can go underneath the vehicle and check your front end. You can put your fingers on the joints. Obviously, you don't want to pinch your fingers, but you can like put them on the joints as they're moving to feel for popping or clicking, or even just see any odd movement that's occurring so that you can catch the actual underlying causes of death wobble before it happens. Really, the problem that causes death wobble is ball joints or steering joints that become loose and get play in them, and then when you hit a joint or a pothole on the road, it causes a vibration in those joints, and that's what gets you that wobble at certain speeds. Now, a lot of the problems with that is because the ball joints that Ford uses in their drag link, the connections they use in their tie rods, even the ball joints themselves are usually shit. And so with rust, especially up here in New England, they go bad. And so for me, I didn't have death wobble, but my drag link ball joint that you see right there, that drag link end was making a popping sound and moving really, really weird. And my steering felt loose. I wasn't getting death wobble, but I also was hearing a little clicking sound. And so I actually had my brother work the wheel and got down under here and looked at that, and that was the joint that was the problem. Now, you can also have your ball joints on your tires be a problem. Or sorry, on your wheels. Best way to check that is to jack up the front end and take a pry bar, put it under the tire, and work the wheel either side to side or up and down. You can work the wheel side to side with your hands. You could also, just take it and give it a good shake and see if you have any play. But usually you need a pry bar with these heavy trucks to get them to move, and you need them to be up in the air. So now your front end has a lot of components. You'll see my steering stabilizer there. But what I would do is, if you are having death wobble or if you haven't checked your front end in a while, go underneath, bring a crowbar, get underneath all the joints, get underneath your steering, check your componentry, see if there's any play in it. You could also, I know another big cause of the death wobble could be the track bar ball joints, the OEM track bar that you have on these Fords. So you can check those as well. Basically anything that moves or controls the steering or your camber. Again, you want to check the actual ball joints that are up on next to the tire. You get a crowbar, you stick it in there. Best thing you can do, though, even easier than getting the crowbar and crawling around, is to have a friend work the wheel. I like to, when a friend does that, I'll take my finger and literally like put it up next to the joints here on my track bar and on my tie rod, and I'll actually check and feel while they're moving, obviously keeping my fingers out of the way so they don't get pinched, but actually feel what that joint is doing, whether it's making any weird popping or clicking sounds, and if it is, then you should probably get it replaced. So while I'd love to tell you could just put a steering stabilizer on, steering stabilizers, because they're just attached to your drag link, they're not actually going to fix the problem of death wobble. They'll be a band-aid because they'll stabilize the steering, they'll hold the drag link in place better and stabilize it, but they really won't fix death wobble. They might dampen the vibration a little bit, but if your ball joints or your joints on your drag link or your joints on your track bar are wonky and they're loose, you're still gonna have death wobble or loose steering. Now again, I was not having death wobble, I was having loose steering, and it just felt very wonky, and I also had a clicking sound whenever I turned the wheel in a certain direction. So again, grab a friend, have them check with you. Ford, it was still under my extended warranty. They replaced my tie rod and the tie rod ends. They did my entire drag link and then the drag link ball joint, which was the problem that I found. And so now I made it a promise to myself. I'll keep checking the truck again every, you know, 40 to 50,000, maybe even, you know, more often than that. Sometimes I'll do it just when I'm under there, you know, giving the truck an oil change. I'll go around and just pick at stuff, and if I have someone nearby, I'll have them turn the steering wheel with the truck on and just feel and look for play in the steering linkage. So again, it's awful that we have to do this. You know, you spend $50,000 on a vehicle and then you have to worry about the steering coming apart on you. Thanks for checking out this video. I know we all hate death wobble, but hopefully this is helpful to you if you're experiencing it, or, you know, at a minimum, it's a nice reminder for you to go check your front end. Cheers.